Are you a recruiter who just sees a resume, shortlist it, and then quickly have a call with the candidate just on the basic, CTC details, notice period, and then chats the resume to the hiring manager and wait for him to shortlist? Then you're falling back. The industry is kind of moving towards a technical screening. Now, what's technical screening? Let's not confuse it with technical interview. A technical interview is an interview done by your employee who is a techie and evaluates a candidate on technical aspects of it. But now, technical screening is by way a recruiter would be able to judge if I'm putting the right candidate who can clear that particular interview. This would enable a recruiter to have a good selection ratio while he also understands more about the particular candidate. Now, why it is important? All right. So first, you need to verify skill of a candidate. So if a candidate is working on a particular technology skill, technology stack, you in the technical screening would be able to evaluate whether his fundamentals of the particular skill set is strong or not. At the same time, you would also be able to understand if the candidate would be able to perform the tasks or the duties that you need in that particular job. Second, the quality. You need to make sure the kind of candidates that you are putting into the interview process are the right quality side of it. This also helps you to understand if there is any risk if the candidate is on the flow. Like for example, would there be any project delays? Would there be any failures just because of his lack of quality? You will be able to understand if you do a technical screening with a candidate. And the third, you need to also evaluate communication skills as well as the cultural fitment of the candidate. This is very much important with the org or the tech community moving towards hybrid and remote options. If suppose a candidate is not able to gel with the team, if he is not able to effectively communicate in a remote setup with the team, how would he be able to bring out the synergy out of it, right? You need to have candidates who can align with the team, would be able to integrate with the team properly and bring out the productivity out of it. So all these aspects you'll be able to judge through a technical screening side of it. Let's consider an example. So in design discussions or design interviews, we would always ask a question for a candidate to design a particular app. Say, for example, let's say design a cab booking or cab renting kind of an app, right? It's like an Uber or Ola kind of an app. Now, a candidate should be able to not jump into a solution, but ask the right questions, get the requirements that you need, and then have the maturity to figure out these requirements and go into the solution. If suppose you put a candidate who doesn't have this maturity on the job, he goes into a client call, gets a requirement, doesn't ask the right details, but jumps into a solution, and 3 months down the line, you would figure out that you are missing some requirements. If you are able to find the right candidate who has the maturity to get that requirements at the first stage itself, you are saving 3 months for your company. And this is what technical screening is. This is why it's very important. Now let's see how you are going to do a technical screening. First and foremost, there are recruiters who ask closed-ended questions which you should never do. For example, if you're looking for a person who has worked on React.js and Redux, you call the candidate and you ask, have you worked on React.js? Have you worked on Redux? The answer would be always yes. Somewhere or the other, he would have got exposure on React.js or Redux. So he obviously would say yes. But that is not what you're looking for. You're not looking for an exposure on React.js, but you're looking for an expertise into it. So mold the question in another way. I see in a resume that you have worked on Redux. On what project have you worked on? What was the use case for the particular project? Make the candidate talk about it. The more the candidate talks about the particular skill set, you will understand whether he has a genuine hands-on experience on the particular tech stack, has he expertise around the particular tech stack, and would he be able to do the same if you are putting him on the floor, or if you would be able to clear the particular technical interview. While you are doing it, also go ahead with follow-up questions. Like in the same example, if a person has worked on Redux, he has technical understanding on Redux, ask follow-up question. Why Redux? Why not some other state management tool? Why not Jutai? If he is able to give you answers like why he didn't use Jutai for the particular requirement, why he went with Redux, what are the pros of Redux, what are the cons of Jutai, this would also help you to understand how technically depth he has in the particular subject and how he will be able to bring out the value add for you on the table. So always try to understand with the follow-up questions, always understand the complexity by which he has used the particular use case, and also understand the thorough knowledge of why the candidate has used that particular technology skill sets. Now, I always also recommend recruiters to also go with a coding question, like have a VC round with the candidate, make him do a share screen, give him a problem statement, and let him do a code on it. Now, you are not a techie, so you would not be able to evaluate a candidate on the code basis the morality of the code, the kind of scalability that he is writing it, naming conventions that he is using it. But then you would be able to judge the candidate on how comfortable he is on coding. Like say, for example, let's take an example. Like there are many simple problem solving questions that is available in the market. Like you can search in ChatGPT, you can search in LeetCode, pick out some problem solvents. Like say, for example, let's take an example of write a program to check whether the given syntax is a palindrome or not. Now, palindrome is a very simple subject, right? So just like a given syntax, if it is reversed, it should be the same syntax. That is palindrome, which is very simple. People can be able to do it. Tell the candidate to write a program for this particular problem statement. If he is able to write the code with a proper solution coming up, he is perfectly comfortable on the particular language that he has used in, perfectly fine. At the same time, tell the candidate, this is a problem statement, palindrome is a problem statement, but you think through the corner cases. Try to figure out what are the other corner cases that you need to solve. Assume the corner cases. Let me know about the corner cases that you're going to solve the particular problem statement in the particular code that you're going to write. And then let's try to solve the particular problem statement. Like for example, here, let's take the syntax as Nitin. Nitin is a palindrome, right? But at the same time, Nitin is a name of a candidate. So when a name comes in, N or the starting letter would be always a capital letter. If he is not solving that corner case, his program would basically not solve for the particular corner case. Like Nitin would not be a palindrome in his particular code. So you need to make sure he is able to understand the corner cases. Let's again overcomplicate it across. Let's say given syntax would have alphanumerical values, but it will also have some special cases, like special characters like space, comma, question mark, whatever it is, right? Now the program should be able to neglect these special cases, take only the alphanumerical syntax and then check it or use it for your palindrome check. This overcomplicates the problem. A candidate who is able to think of these corner cases has the maturity to also understand kya corner cases ho sakta hai on the floor and be able to come up with the right solution, which will be optimal solution. Otherwise, the solution will be always a suboptimal solution. So you'll be able to understand how comfortable he is on coding from this. You'll be able to understand whether he is able to write the functions or he is using the inbuilt logics of the particular problem statement. You'll be also able to understand how he is thinking through it, how he is thinking this problem statement, how he is thinking or how he is breaking down this particular problem, how he is able to think around the corner cases and bring in the solutions for the particular corner cases. At the same time, you will be also seeing candidates who can give up on a particular problem statement. Like for example, if suppose a person is not able to solve the overcomplicated solution, like the special characters in this case, he would give up. Now you don't need a candidate who gives up, right? You always need a candidate who has the never say no attitude, who is able to figure out bottlenecks, who is able to go through around the bottlenecks or the dead blocks that he faces and figures out the solution. So this kind of cultural fitment and this kind of attitude is something that you will be able to figure it out. So this is why we always look into the technical screening, and technical screening helps you to find out the right candidate and helps you to have a better success ratio in comes to the selection ratio as a recruiter.